The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. Just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Chemexus, a discussion-based podcast focused on gaining your business a competitive advantage by eliminating marketing confusion and making your digital marketing work for you. I'm Matthew McGordy, the social media content producer here at Chemexus.
I'm Len Moore, the managing partner at Chemexus.
And I'm Josh Lyons, the digital marketing coordinator here at Chemexus.
So today we are talking about one of the bigger stories of this entire month, which has led to a bunch of other different things for Facebook, which is that Facebook has agreed to pay advertisers $40 million over inflated video stats per a settlement in a class action lawsuit. So I'm going to be pulling a lot of information from this from Ad Age's Garrett Sloan, Hollywood Reporter's Eric Gardner, and the Los Angeles Times' Mike Hiltzik. They all had three great pieces explaining what was going on here. They're all in the blog description, so definitely check those out. So Facebook has agreed to pay advertisers $40 million for the inflated video metrics it incorrectly provided, a case which has made some marketers rethink the reliability of measurement reports from the social network, as we might talk about in a little bit. So on Monday, October 7th, the terms of the settlement were filed in the United States District Court in California, revealing that the sides had agreed to a $40 million lawsuit for the $40 million settlement for the faulty metrics that were provided over a period of 18 months in 2015 and 2016. The class action lawsuit claims that 1.35 million advertisers could have been affected. So here's kind of what Facebook here is being accused of, how the faulty metrics kind of worked. The way YouTube's algorithm worked at the time was that it skipped anybody who had not watched the videos for a period of 3 seconds or longer. So basically, if you were scrolling through on Facebook and a video, you passed by a video and maybe you saw 1 second of it, but you were just scrolling through, it would not have counted you as a viewer. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a fantastic idea, because why would you want to get all of that useless data in your data pool, right? The problem is the algorithm, or however the metrics were calculated, didn't take this into consideration properly. So what ended up happening was you had inflated video metrics showing that they were way better than what they actually were, because they weren't taking into consideration all the people who saw it and proceeded to ignore it. So Facebook said that those numbers were inflated by 60 to 80% when they came public with this issue around September 2016. However, the claim in the lawsuit was that some of those numbers were actually inflated by 150 to 900%, which is staggering even to think about. Obviously, as I mentioned, Facebook disclosed this measurement issue in 2016, but the lawsuit was able to gain some internal communications from Facebook through the legal process, and they found mentions of some measurement issues. I don't know the specifics of them because I don't have all access to all those emails, potentially going back as far as 2015, which means that there's a chance that Facebook's engineers and the people at Facebook in general knew about this issue for a year to 18 months prior to releasing all of that information. And the reason people are really upset about this is kind of twofold. One, advertisers felt misled because you're seeing metrics and you're seeing this performance that seems incredible, and then you're not actually getting what it is that you're paying for. And then there's obviously a lot of publication companies like Mike, Vox, etc., who did what was at the time called the pivot to video, where publishers were laying off reporters and journalists and stuff and bringing in huge video teams to create all this video for platforms that were not showing accurate metrics. So before we get any farther there, let's just kind of stop here and talk about it from here. So what do we think about this?
Facebook, for as good as it is as a platform to advertise on, it's tremendous in the awareness stage. It's tremendous in all 5 phases of the buyer's journey. I've said repeatedly, I believe Facebook has moved into the absolute best way to bring brand awareness, out there. I think it's surpassed TV, it's surpassed radio, it's surpassed Google, and I get pushed back. Well, what about Google pay-per-click and SEO? And that's how I'm discovered. That's not awareness. That's people are consideration phase. But it clearly has become broken away from the pack as right now, the leader in the awareness stage, and again the other phases. It's amazing, how much they've slipped up though on the way to becoming, the big dog per se in this race. And I think this all points back to, and I don't want to we said this earlier, it's not about getting overly political, but it is time that Facebook has to begin to explore removing Mark as CEO and getting a CEO in there, savvy CEO, because you have a really good company with a lot of great products, and let's call it the ways companies make really, really good money off this, and in no way, shape, or form should you let this stop your investment in Facebook. You shouldn't. But I think after you saw how Mark Zucker responded to Capitol Hill, namely how AOC was completely grilling him and destroying him, once again, it's clear that while he was part of the team that invented Facebook and absolutely helped get Facebook to where it is today, it's now, to me, it looks like for Facebook to go to 2.0 and to really take its rightful claim as number 2 behind Google, and at times I think they're number 1. They're going to need to change up top, and that's going to start with the CEO. The problem is that's going to be nearly impossible because of the amount of stock that Mark Zucker owns. It's going to be up Zuckerberg.
He's the majority shareholder, right? It's like 50 something.
Yeah,
it's
so
it's more than
it's the same thing as Snapchat, where everybody's like, well, we'll do this with that with Snapchat. Well, the stock that they offered out everybody is non-voting stock, so you'll be doing nothing. Snapchat's going to do whatever they want to do. But that's a problem I think you have with Facebook, and eventually it's going to be up to him to have a heart-to-heart with himself and say, like soul-searching, say maybe it's time I step to the side. And a lot of great people invented companies step to the side. But let's put all the political and where I think that should be. They're alarming, these numbers. They're disturbing. We see this stuff coming out all the time. I would kind of lump this into ad fraud because it is. It's a delicate line to say, but it is. We see it all the time. I think ad fraud's happening across the board on pay-per-click, Google search. I think it's happening, really happening on programmatic. If you're involved in that, it's rampant. And I think it's happening everywhere. I think companies are doing the best they can to fight back on it. I know Google's trying to. I know a lot of people are. But this is a messy situation for Facebook. Now, everybody's going to make a couple bucks off this once this lawsuit comes through. Didn't Jim come out with a number? I think Jim said it was like $1 an account or something was what it was going to bake down
to. $40 million settlement, and there's 1.35 million advertisers. Like, even if you just do the math there, that's theoretically like what, $40 per advertiser?
Yeah.
And that's before the legal fees associated, and then however much the law firm that's representing them in the class action lawsuit will be taking.
So it's going to come down to $1.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty low.
Just a good old $1 Facebook post to boost.
Yeah. They may give you credit. They actually may give you credit. It wouldn't surprise me. Take the credit, not the dollar.
So here's the interesting thing that I want to bring up, because you mentioned ad fraud, and when I was doing research for reference, I wrote the blog post before we recorded this episode, so I did some pretty extensive research as I do for our outlines, but I did even more for the blog post, so definitely check that out. There's some good links there. But the issue seems to be that the advertisers were claiming that these video metrics inflations were affecting ads specifically, and therefore it encouraged them to buy more ads. Facebook is saying it only affected organic video posting, which is why publications like Mike and Vox were so willing to push on video, as well as a ton of other publications. Like I've got quotes from Adam Conover, who worked at College Humor at the time. There's a bunch of publications that decided to push here because of how apparently great the traffic was, right? But the issue is Facebook says it's, okay, well, organic was the only place that this was happening because at the time, you weren't paying for ads based on how long somebody watched. So the metrics should be theoretically irrelevant.
It's a bait and switch.
Well, yeah.
It's exactly what it is.
So to Facebook, it's, well, they were questioning, why would those metrics be relevant to you buying ads if you're not paying based on how long somebody sees them? Whereas obviously the advertisers are saying, well, even if the metrics weren't specifically inflated for advertising, if we see organic doing so well, of course we're going to want to pay for ads on the platform using video, because why wouldn't the metrics be similar or better because you're paying, right? So that's, I think, one of the big slippery things here, and it's not really a slippery slope, but I think that's one of the big things of contention here is Facebook is obviously going to pivot it as, we didn't do anything wrong, this was clearly just an organic problem, whereas all of the advertisers are going to say it and say, of course this feels like ad fraud. The metrics lied to us, and then we decided to put money in it because we didn't know we were being lied to, right?
So I think that there's a lot to really unpack. I think there's a couple things. Number one, you should never be relying 100% on Google, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn data coming back into you via their dashboard. You know, we run a program here which is a custom dashboard, and when we feed in Google Analytics and we verse it versus Facebook, you know, what Facebook's telling us happened versus what Google Analytics is telling us what happened, it's completely two different metrics whatsoever. Facebook and Google are never going to give you 100% accurate metrics on your campaign. It's never going to happen. There's a million theories why, but just know that it's never going to happen. So if Facebook tells you there was 100 people that came to your website, you need to go ahead and assume it was probably about 65 people that went there. You know, there's a lot of things you can look at from that point. But I think the main thing you have to look at here, away from really not overly trusting the data 100%, is this was definitely a way for Google to say, hey, look at these numbers, look what happened, and to try to move money into the video platform. We all knew that video was taking over anyway on Facebook. I think anybody saw that. Video was clearly taking over every social media platform. I just think that this greased the skids a little quicker and got more people to come in, especially companies who were maybe very focused on their content they were creating was heavy video. So our thought process here, we say it all the time, is everybody wants to post organically, but you got to put money behind your post to, you know, grow your followers. It's not about just coming up with great content all the time. It's about how much money you're going to spend. So I mean, I hope that kind of makes sense. I think that it's shifty what they did. It's wrong what they did, but it doesn't stop us from saying, hey, you know, 30 to 40% of your ad dollars should be in Facebook. No, it's not going to stop it at all. Did they lie? Yeah, they lied. Is it something that we'd have to explain to clients? Absolutely, we'd have to explain to clients, but we've run video ads here for clients. We've done exceptionally well on Facebook video ads. As a matter of fact, sometimes the data Facebook gives us, we're doing so much better than what Facebook's even trying to tell us. So I guess just to answer your question, I think this is just another in a long line of, you know, black eyes for Facebook that's going forward. But ask yourself a question: are you going to put your money somewhere else? You're not. You're going to go Google, you're going to Facebook. So if you're top of the funnel and you're trying to raise awareness, what are you going to do? Call CBS to say, hey, I'd like to run some commercials during 60 minutes. You're not going to. You know, please don't if you're even thinking about that. But I think that's one of these things where this is where you're starting to get screams from the gates of saying, should Facebook be broken up? Should Google be broken up? Because now you're looking at monopolies. So if this stuff continues to roll down the path and it's constant problems, but you're like, well, where else are we going to go to sell our product? You got a problem on your hands. And somebody did raise, you know, should we consider breaking up Facebook? Now, me at my, you know, capitalistic heart thinks that's crazy. Somebody worked their ass off and built up a company. You can't go breaking them up. They worked harder than you. But again, it's concerning. No, I wouldn't stop any advertisements in Facebook in any way, shape, or form. I don't think this has really done a whole lot to their stock price. I think it's kind of bouncing around a little bit. I know it's been down a little bit, but they're still going to post really good earnings. I'd be surprised if they didn't. And those earnings are coming from what? Ad dollars. So, but the core of the story here is, as bad as that is, you have to go in and rely on your own data. You must harvest your own data. Don't 100% lean on Facebook's data, third-party data. You must be able to build your own internal model and look at your own data and say, we're going to make judgments and assumptions and decisions based upon our team's data. which is a collective effort from a lot of different platforms. But if you're not building your own internal data source, and it could be something as small as an Excel spreadsheet, and you kind of look at stuff and compare stuff, developing customer acquisition cost, are we converting, and all that kind of stuff, and looking at how the metrics are all feeding in. If you're not doing that, then you have a problem. You have a problem. So I know I'm rambling, but it's one of these, you shouldn't be relying on data 100% on Facebook to make decisions. That's crazy. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're going to get into, in a couple moments, some of the reasons why video advertising in general is still really good and why on Facebook it's still exceptional in particular. But Josh, do you want to give your thoughts on this before we either move on or maybe talk about the Mike and Vox stuff? Because I think personally, as somebody who makes videos and appreciates publications and media companies, I think what happened to them was particularly bad because of these numbers specifically, but
yeah, I just think, what Len said basically summarized that there's no reason you should shy away from using Facebook, but it is something that you have to take, as a warning, because this is a huge thing that's going on with lying with these metrics. You also have what happened during the election and the great hack thing that we watched and we talked about. So there's no reason that you should shy away from Facebook, but it's something where, if things like this continue to happen, there is a possibility down the line in, a couple years that you might be starting to think about, putting some dollars away from Facebook, because you just don't know. If Mark Zuckerberg does decide to have his little heart-to-heart to himself and say, I need to step away, and they put someone else new there, then you're going to probably put more into Facebook. But if things continue to stay the same, there's, problem after problem after problem, and, in the next 3 to 5 years, who knows, maybe Facebook starts to die while all these new platforms start to take over, because, while we spend 80% into Facebook and Google, you have this other 20% that is all for these other, up and coming growing platforms, where one of them might start in the next year, 2, 3 to 5 years, might start pulling percentages away from Facebook while there are other problems happening, because you can't go a day without seeing some other new problem with Facebook or a news article that comes out. But then again, they are the best for a reason, and they will find a way, or you would think and hope that they will find a way to continue to grow and get better. So I think it's just something to take warning of. But it's a pretty wild story.
Yeah. We're going to move on. If you want to read about the Mike and Vox stuff, in particular about how the metrics affected a lot of media companies and publishing companies and stuff like that, things like College Humor and just basically any company that did, any publication that did a pivot to video. So back in 2015, 2016, 2017, there was this idea of pivoting to video to create a ton of video content. In particular, well, many companies did that. In particular, it was media companies who were doing it because they were seeing that the written word might not get them as much exposure and ad dollars as, say, posting a video on Facebook could, theoretically speaking. So they moved to Facebook because the numbers were so good. The problem being, we know now that some of those numbers at that time, during that time span, were way inflated potentially, and it caused a lot of problems. So definitely check out the blog post. There's some good links there. Some good commentary from Adam Conover, from Adam Ruins Everything, as you may or may not have watched in the past. Yeah. So he had some thoughts because he worked at College Humor at the time, and he was talking about YouTube, Facebook, viewership numbers, things like that. So really interesting stuff. Check out the blog for those. It will be in there. But we're going to move on to why video advertising, even though, so we got all this bad Facebook news going on. I feel like we need one of those counters where it's like last time since Facebook did something or got some scandal and like we wouldn't get past like 30 days or something.
You might not even get past a week.
It depends on the week, I guess, yeah. But at the end of the day, video advertising still is really important, still really effective in general, but also on Facebook. And even though these numbers were inflated at the time, in particular for organic videos, we know now that they are a lot better, more verifiable, and even so, obviously, as Len mentioned, as Josh mentioned, you should make sure that you are paying attention to your own metrics so you can better verify them. But I have some really nice charts here from eMarketer talking about the power of video ads, in particular on social media. So for example, there's one, do U.S. agency and marketing professionals currently use influencers in their digital marketing video ad campaigns? So about 70% of them are using influencers in digital video advertising, about 21% plan to. So that I think in general was just a nice little number, about 7 in 10 are using influencer marketing, which is a different form of video ad marketing than you would typically traditionally think of. And then you have, which social media platforms do U.S. internet users use to watch digital video? The top one, nobody is surprised, is YouTube at 75%, but the second highest is Facebook at 56%. And then which types of content make U.S. internet users more likely to research a brand or product? And the top is videos at 44%, and the second is pictures with captions at 31%, followed by blog posts at 9%. Any comments, thoughts?
I mean, it's the way people digest content. It's, I mean, we've seen it a million times. It's, websites are, even our website is very lack of words. I mean, we even batted around internally here with Bill and Anthony and myself about creating a website that had no words whatsoever. It was just going to be video all the way throughout. That was a little extreme, but won't be too extreme in about 18 months. Look, this is just what's happening. It's funny because you still see a lot of like B2B companies and a lot of other technical companies that really are into the long written word. And I don't. It's not that it's a bad thing. I mean, it's funny because I find myself when I listen to Audible like nonstop for books. I'll buy the book too, because I'll listen to it and then I want to go back and look at a couple things to read it. So I think that there is always going to be a place for the text as to where it is in relation to online, but it's clear that people are digesting video. It's clear that most, if not all, platforms are moving to a heavy video type way to distribute content. So I mean, we're just pointing out the obvious here. You have to be engaged in video. Don't be afraid to grab your iPhone, take a video. Don't be afraid to do some things from here and there. It's just the way people want to digest it, and it's not changing. I mean, almost every single ad we run right now, we A/B test where we'll go a static image ad and we'll do a video ad side by side. And that video ad historically performs pretty well. There's sometimes a single image ad works great, but historically the video ads work well. So I mean, it's really not a whole lot to say here. You got to be doing video.
I agree.
All right, so yeah, I mean, the LA Times piece by Mike Hiltzik, he actually had some really nice charts about, interest in text versus video as well. And one of the points he made was that for like news in particular, but news that was more complicated than just like a headline that you might see in like a CBS News report or something like that. For information like that, a lot of people preferred reading because they can read it faster and understand it faster. But for things like advertising and other forms of like entertainment content, people did tend to just like to watch it because you don't need the quick.
You don't have to burn
reading.
Calories.
Yeah.
It's coming right at you. They're speaking right to you. If you're going to interrupt my time with a commercial or whatever it may be, I'm not going to read your 1,000-word blog post on the top 10 things I should be doing for SEO. I'm not. Give me a video of 30 seconds, and I'll look at it. So yeah, I think that's just basically the psychological element of how human beings like to be talked to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to go to Ads 101 for this week's episode, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Ads 101, a show that gives explanations of both fundamental and complicated marketing topics.
Today we're discussing the difference between earned, owned, and paid media.
Earned, owned, and paid media are important aspects to balance in a digital marketing campaign. They're the three main types that all media in a digital marketing campaign, whether it's videos, pictures, audio, etc., can be divided into.
All digital marketing campaigns use various forms of media to spread their brand message. The big difference between earned, owned, and paid is how the media is acquired and spread.
Let's start with owned. Owned media is media that your business,
owns.
That includes your website, your blog content, your social media pages, the product images you've commissioned, the videos you've contracted to be created, etc.
Basically anything that you can say you or your business definitively own.
Earned media and paid media are where we start focusing on how media is spread.
Earned media is the way your content is shared organically across the internet.
So that's being discovered via Google search because of good SEO practices.
Or a piece of content being liked, shared, and retweeted by individuals and brands that, well, like your content.
From a PR perspective, earned media is also positive reviews, press releases, and recommendations from journalists and media outlets. For both owned and earned media, this is where a fantastic organic content strategy can really pay off.
Finally, there's paid media.
Paid media is a broad category that contains every way that you pay to get your brand message out there.
That's social media ads like Facebook ads, Google PPC and display ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads,
Snapchat ads, retargeting ads on many platforms, and paid influencer advertising, just to name a few.
Often these three categories are shown as a three-pronged Venn diagram. That means that each category works with another to accomplish a specific goal.
Earned and owned work together in this way. Proper SEO and good content strategy can increase the finding and sharing of your content.
Owned and paid help you gain more exposure to your brand and content.
Paid and earned work together to push content engagement and discovery through paid promotion.
And all of these categories come together to create a well-balanced digital marketing campaign.
That's all for this week's Ads 101.
See you next time. Welcome back, everybody, to the Buyer's Journey News Roundup. Today we got three social media stories in particular, one on Snapchat and two on Facebook, as if we couldn't have talked about Facebook enough, but they got some really interesting different ad things that they're going to be doing to further monetize Facebook itself. So we're gonna get to that in a second. But first, Snapchat dynamic ads are now in beta. They auto-generate ads from product catalogs. This is from Amy Gessenhughes on Marketing Land. All of these are, in fact, from Amy Gessenhughes, 2 on Marketing Land, 1 on Search Engine Land. So thank you, Amy, for all of that fantastic content. So Snapchat has opened a beta for dynamic ads, which automatically create and update product ads to run on the app. The dynamic ads are available in a wide array of templates and aimed at retail, e-commerce, and D2C brands that have a product catalog uploaded to the platform, similar to kind of what Amazon has done. As product details such as a price or availability are updated, the dynamic ads adjust accordingly. Here's a quote. Snapchat dynamic ads now allow brands to create real-time optimized mobile ads quickly and at scale with products showcased in visually appealing templates that feel native to the app, said Snap Group Product Marketing Manager of Direct Response, Kathleen Gambarelli. The beta for the ads is available to all advertisers, but the ads will only reach US users for now. The company plans to expand it to more markets in the coming months, and advertisers must contact Snapchat to be a part of the beta.
Look, Snapchat, this is great. I think a lot of this stuff we kind of knew based upon the last stock, earnings update, that a lot of these things were coming out. So we have to see if it's going to bring more people to the table to upload, because our system is really easy to use. I mean, for us, where we kind of, our client base dances on a line whether we should be using Snapchat or not. We have a couple clients, maybe. But it's something that's on our radar. In 2020, it's something we're going to look at because some of those services that we do work with companies, Snapchat would be a player. My biggest thing is Snapchat's client base growing up with Snapchat? Are they growing up together? Because Facebook clearly has grown up together. Some stuff is aged out. But like with me, I've been on Facebook a solid 10 years now. So Facebook is now, we're kind of locked hand in hand, my age group, mid-40s going all the way up. So is Snapchat doing the same thing? If it is doing the same thing, then you're going to start seeing more and more people dumping ad dollars in there. And in turn, you're going to see the stock price clearly going up. But that's for Snapchat's ad. It's like, okay, are you going to grow up with your user base?
Yeah, and I like that Snap ads in the past have been super easy, and then for dynamic ads, it's literally just upload your product catalog and you're done, and then you can make ads based on whatever. So I think it's really great for Snapchat. I'm interested to see how well it does for them, especially because we always talk about comparing Snapchat and Instagram in terms of being able to buy things in app. Obviously, in this case, you're probably still being led to a different website to make your purchase, but who knows if these dynamic ads go well, maybe there's going to be in-app purchases for these different products straight directly through on Snapchat, which will be fantastic for them from a monetary standpoint and getting e-commerce and stuff like that. So very interesting. Looking forward to see how it evolves in the future. Next up, Facebook is testing ads in the group chat. Not the group chat. Facebook is testing ads in the Group tab. Again, this is from Amy Gessenhughes on Marketing Land. Facebook is trying out ad placements in its group tab where users can view content from all the groups they belong to. The test includes a very small number of advertisers who will have access to the new inventory from within Ads Manager, making it possible for them to extend mobile newsfeed campaigns to the groups tab. Here's a quote. We're running a small test to place the ads in the groups tab, and we'll evaluate whether these ads are beneficial for people and businesses before deciding whether to expand it further, said Facebook product manager Melissa Tokmak in an email to Marketing Land. To take advantage of the ad placement, advertisers with access must select Facebook feed and group feed placement options. Targeting capabilities for group tab ads remain the same as other ads. There are no additional options to target users based on their group memberships. Facebook's test to put ads in the groups tab is one of the example of the company finding every possible opportunity it can to increase ad inventory. I agree with you, Amy Gesson-Hughes. And the added emphasis is put in group tabs this year. Something that Facebook has been making a huge push for is been making content from your audience get even more pushed into it. So again, they're just trying to make you connect more with people specifically on the platform.
So what do the ads look like again?
So basically, if you go into the group tab on, I believe it's only mobile, but it might be on desktop, you just might get an ad in that tab where you're finding content from the groups that you are a part of.
And can you also get ads running within the groups you're in?
That I don't believe is what they're doing right now, because some of the groups are closed off. So I would be shocked if you were able to get ads, though I'm sure because it's on Facebook itself, if you go into the group, you're still going to be getting the regular side ads that they do all the time. Anyway.
They're doing this group because you have a lot of marketing gurus out there who love to push this whole group thing. Mm-hmm. There's a funnel system you can work, and you're starting to see a lot of companies embrace it. So it would be like, Comexis being a South Jersey group, and we help businesses, and it's just a front to get leads. It's another way, and like I've said, and it kind of goes on our premise of you got to pay. There's organic stuff you still should be doing, but it's Facebook and Google follow what agencies are doing. They're following what marketers are doing, and they're identifying the spots in the realm per se where they're doing stuff for free, because groups will be considered free. Hey, join my group, join our exclusive group, and they're finding a way in which they can monetize that. I know that there is a rise of the groups on Facebook. I have seen that. I belong to quite a few, which is great, but I do know that there is a massive push right now on Facebook ads, if you see, and the whole kitsch, the whole shtick behind what these marketers are teaching you is just to start these Facebook groups. That's literally what it is. You're advertising out on Facebook. Facebook's literally reading your entire ad and saying, wow, that's great. You're going to do that for free. We're going to go ahead and monetize that. So I just think it's, again, as you understand the game of Google and Facebook has ad revenue that they have to constantly increase. I feel like Adam ruins everything, but it's true. I think you're seeing, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just another way for them to monetize. I mean, I know the groups have been rising, but that much?
I mean, there's been some pushes. I mean, I know from just organic content and even just people who are trying to make content or podcasts or stuff like that. They'll make groups for their fans to go and talk in.
Sure.
And it's popular in the sense of it helps sort of consolidate all people who are interested in one specific thing there. However, I have not seen any advertisements ever placed in a group itself as a promoted post. But having them begin in the groups tab might be a showcase.
It's a start. I think it's going to be in there. So if you're in a lawyer marketing group and you're talking about or a whatever group, and you're going to eventually start seeing ads, unfortunately, potentially for your competitors too, which I think may be in there. So that's coming. So that's my thoughts on it.
What do you think, Josh?
Just think it's another great idea, and I mean, you guys both summed it up pretty much. It's just finding ways to monetize things that are already free, and there'll eventually be a point where everywhere you click, it's money getting put behind it. So
that is true. All right, let's move on. So moving on, Facebook opens search ads to all advertisers. This is again from Amy Gesson-Hughes on Search Engine Land. After nearly a year of testing ads in newsfeed and marketplace search results, Facebook is rolling out search ad placement more broadly to all advertisers. The ads will appear in results for search terms that have commercial intent, such as searches for commercial products connected to the e-commerce, retail, or auto verticals. Currently, search ad placement is available on mobile only. Here's a quote. Testing shows that advertisers and people are finding value in ads and search results, so we're rolling out these ads more broadly, said Facebook Director of Product Management Nipun Malhotra. To have the ads appear in search results, advertisers can either select automatic placement for their newsfeed ads or choose the, quote, Facebook search results placement in Ads Manager when creating a newsfeed ad campaign. Testing for ads in search are based on the advertiser's chosen people-based targeting options, in addition to relevant search terms. The keywords, however, are determined by Facebook, not the advertiser, and take into account a combination of ad features such as ad text, product, category, title.
So this is an interesting thing. I found this very interesting because, a great stat that I stumbled upon actually today, because I'm building something out. Nearly 40%, over 40% of people actually use Twitter and use Facebook as a search engine now to search stuff. Like they go on there and they'll actually search it. So they did.
That is surprising.
It doesn't surprise me because I tell people all the time one of the best searches in the world is Twitter. It's awesome.
Well, I'll use Twitter. I mean, this is just anecdotally. Like, I feel like there's nothing, unless I'm specifically looking for a business and I'm specifically looking for their Facebook page, I'm almost never doing a search on Facebook. But I will do searches on Twitter for just like to see if anybody's talking about something.
Yeah, so you're not really doing it for a purchase intent on Twitter. Twitter's more topical research, and you're looking to join a conversation. That's where it's tremendous. It's also great, by the way, to get keyword ideas. Is Twitter's a great place for it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But Facebook, no, people because they have a bar that says search. And people have actually went in there and they started searching. For years, they were pulling all their information off Bing. I think they still are connected to Bing. I'd have to go in and take a look at that. There was always the buzz forever. Why is Facebook not just buying Bing and end this? If you're going to go to war with Google, do it right. But the reason they're doing this is because they have noticed the amount of people coming in and searching it, because it's clear they can just go in their own logs and look how many people are hitting search and what they're searching for. There's clearly to make money here. But this is also a direct shot at Google, as I think I mentioned to you yesterday. This is a direct shot at going after Google search. So if these two are battling 1-2 right now, and we'll be talking about Google in a minute, what they're doing to fire back, you're now beginning to see an expanded list of advertising services on both platforms that are clearly going against each other. So where I think forever Facebook was kind of always running that, awareness stage, retargeting stage, they never really veered into the consideration and purchase stage. Purchase a little bit, but never were directly in consideration. Google lives in the consideration and purchase stage. It's where they make all their money. That's why they make so much money. 93% of searches started a search engine. So Google lives, and that's where they put all their money in the bank. But I think what's happening now is Facebook's like, why can't we walk into the consideration and purchase phase more? Why can't we go deeper down the thing with how many billions of users are on Facebook? And they're on there for a large proportionate amount of time during the day. They have the app on their phone and so forth. It's a great way to monetize. We're going to see what the initial data is. We never jump in first and beta test it. We let all the pioneers get slaughtered. We come in and prosper afterwards and get all the data. So I'm very interested to see it, but yes, I will absolutely be encouraging clients to use this thing. I don't think there's any question. It's going to do tremendous. I'd be stunned if it didn't. Over 40%, so they use social media as a search engine platform. Now remember, that social media platform, a lot of people like to lump in YouTube in the social media platform. I don't overly think just because you can make a comment that you're necessarily a YouTube and you can follow. I guess, but they really love to lump that in, and I just really do believe that truly is its own standalone product. It's not necessarily search. It's not necessarily social. It literally is its own ecosystem.
It's such a weird hybrid because, on one hand, it's a social media platform because you can constantly see like the different content that is being recommended to you and shared and stuff like that.
You comment on it, yeah.
And you can comment on it, but at the same time, like I agree, when I think of social media platforms, I think of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn to an extent, etc. And because you are directly sharing with people on YouTube, you're not really sending things to friends, right? So
no, I think that's what and I think some of those numbers are baked in there. Another reason I think that they're doing this is going back to the groups. One of the things that I noticed was that a lot of people on Facebook were using groups for recommendations. So if you belong in, what's up Haddonfield, what's up Voorhees, what's up Newtown, you go in there, it's a nice sized community in there, and you will see people posting up, I need a local landscaper, I need who's, great for oil changes. Google's sitting there saying, all right, well, why wouldn't you just go search for that? And clients will pay, or customers will pay for that. So the interesting thing is how they're going to display the search. Is it going to be, okay, like I'm searching for a local oil change, who's good? One by me is Valvoline. So is it going to say Valvoline? They're going to pay for the ad. This friend likes Valvoline. Reviews came from this friend. Is it going to show that, expand it down? I got a feeling it's going to. And if that's it, well, Google's got a bit of a problem on their hands now. So because now your reviews are brought to the forefront because it's family and friend reviews that you're seeing on there. Now it's people who follow it or people you know. That's a big problem for Google when it comes to local search. I mean, because if that's the case, and if we're like a B2C type company, I'm going to be saying let's get more money on that search there. So I am going to pull money out of Google search. Google's got a problem on its hands. That if this does play off the way it wants to play out, or Facebook's really just fired a shot at Google. That's all the bad news in the world. You can play what you want, but Facebook really has something on their hands here.
Well, speaking about shots to Google, we now have a Google shot towards Facebook to talk
Facebook.
about. So this is from Lauren Johnson on Business Insider. Google is promoting an ad format that looks like a social post. Here's the presentation Google is using to steal Facebook's advertisers. So Google unveiled Discovery Ads at its annual Google Marketing Live event in May. The ad format is akin to a social media ad that uses images to grab people's attention while scrolling on 3 Google properties: the Discover newsfeed in Google's app, YouTube's homepage, and Gmail. 2 ad agencies have run discovery ad campaigns for clients since May, said the ads use Google's audience data to target people who are in market to buy something or have recently visited a website. The focus on feeds also shows how Google is trying to make more money from areas outside of search advertising. Sarah Ulrich, paid search strategist at Tinuit, said that the ad agency has run 6 or 7 discovery campaigns over the last 6 months. Google has only made its ad format available to certain advertisers. A spokesperson wouldn't say how many have used it or when it will become more widely available. And we can see them up on our computer screen here. And I mean, they look exactly like a Facebook ad, exactly what you would expect, right?
Especially mobile.
And Google's core business is keyword-based search, but discovery ads are aimed at people who aren't doing searches because they can appear, as they mentioned, on YouTube and different apps like that. And we can see, obviously over here, we have some nice YouTube app ads. And I think, we were just talking about Facebook trying to advertise and take up every ounce of advertising power they can on the different facets of their website. And I think this is a fantastic example of Google finally going, all right, we got all these apps, might as well find a way to shove them full of ads because it might actually be effective for us.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. We just said how Facebook is marching into the consideration purchase phase. Google's going to march into their awareness phase. So, it's like, it feels like it's, you remember the game Battleship. I feel like, all right, now they're just hitting each other's, aircraft carriers. But that's all this is. I mean, and now the question is how well will this work for Google? Because to me, the way I read this, really good article, by the way, and the research by that search firm, that information was good that they presented. But the question is that, so now you have to kind of take a step back and say, all right, well, how effective is this going to be? It's interesting. I wonder where I'm very confident that Facebook search ads is going to work really well. And I typically tend to lean more towards Google. I think more for advertising. I just think Google is going to give you a little bit better an ROI right now. I don't know how this is going to work out for them. I'm kind of wondering how it is. So I think I need to gather more information on this and really get more information back as to what's taking place. Because you can kind of do this on YouTube already right now. How we do a little audience matching. Now it is a bit of these aren't video ads though, these are static image ads, right?
Yeah,
that are above
just
it.
Images.
So that's interesting. So you don't actually have to go with the video at all.
See, I'm curious to learn, because I don't know off the top of my head, but how many users does the YouTube app have specifically monthly, let's say, or daily? And then how many does the Google Discovery tab, like the Google Home app itself, how many people are using that as opposed to just Googling something on your phone, or with YouTube, all YouTube links on your phone, if you have the app, will automatically open in the app, so that's a little different. But I'm just curious how many people are actually using those apps as opposed to just doing a search in one of their browsers.
Yeah, so the average user on YouTube is about 40 minutes a day, if I'm correct, 40 to 50 minutes, which now, obviously, that's now there's a very weird, you go look at my son, who will watch gaming videos day in and day out for 4 straight hours when he's done school, and I'll maybe go on YouTube for 20 minutes during the day, 5 minutes during the day, maybe even 2 minutes. So it's overall it's 40 minutes. So those are numbers you have to think about when you're thinking about, okay, am I going to go down the road of of potentially using this as an advertising platform. 40 minutes a day is 40 minutes a day. That's pretty strong.
No, that's good.
Because when you combine Facebook and Instagram, the average user combined is about 2.5 hours a day. So when you go look at it, okay, where am I going to go put my ad dollars? Well, I'm probably going to lean more towards Facebook, Instagram. That's how you have to look at this. What I find interesting, though, the most important thing is that the center picture we have, which we'll hopefully put up on the blog post here, is that just going to pop up when you go to the search bar? Because that's completely changing the layout of the Google search homepage.
Yeah, I think that's
interesting.
That's the plan.
So that means basically they're going to track and follow what you have, and then they're going to drop an ad underneath the search bar relevant to something that could be for you. I want to see if that's on my phone yet.
It's not on my desktop.
These are only for the apps.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I don't know the number of people using the YouTube app specifically for the purpose of going and searching compared to just doing a Google search. Because like if I'm looking for a YouTube video, I'm not going to the YouTube app, I'm going to a Google search, and then when I click to play the video, it will open in the YouTube app.
How do you watch YouTube at home?
On my desktop.
On your desktop?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't look at a smart TV?
I use a Fire Stick.
That's an app.
I haven't watched TV.
Okay, but see, like
6 years.
Yeah, but no, like my sons don't watch TV at all. But everything they run, it's a massive computer screen. So they're either on their phone, they're on their tablet, and that's how they control what they're looking at. So a lot of people are like, oh, that's I watch YouTube when I go home. Or you have to think about how you're watching YouTube. So if you are watching on a smart TV, that's an app. So that's where when you're kind of looking at that.
These I think are only showing on mobile apps. That's why I'm
okay. Yeah, because I just pulled the Google here, and I'm not necessarily seeing an ad, because that would be really groundbreaking if Google said, I'm going to go ahead and change the mobile app and I'm going to put an ad down below.
Is that the actual app, or is
That's
that?
the app.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not up here yet for me, but I know they're just testing this out. But I'll find that to be very, very interesting. Your hardcore Google people may hate that, because one of the reasons people moved away from Yahoo years ago is because, my God, it turned into a trash can after a while. You couldn't even search on that thing. I haven't been on Yahoo in 10 years. So anyway, that's it. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I think these are two very new properties.
Yeah.
I think you have to let it bake for a couple quarters. But what's going to happen is now you're opening it up to more real estate. So this is going to open up to more ad dollars. So it'd be interesting to kind of see what happens with it. So
Absolutely. Any final thoughts, Josh?
Nope.
All right. That's all for today's episode of The Buyer's Journey. Check us out on Comexis.com, YouTube, and anywhere you can get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter at @buyers_journey. Thanks for tuning in.